Hello everyone, it's Morris here again. So today is day 6 of Axie Infinity Origin Season 2 and let's see what the meta is like. So top we have the Corntail, I guess Tri-Feather, kind of aggro with the wing horn. So it's a very typical, nowadays I think probably the most effective meta in terms of aggro. And then you can see it at the number 3 also, running is very similar build, and you can see a very similar build all across in terms of this, the aggro kind of stuff. So, and then we do have, the hot butt stuff, and then we have the triple pigeon pose stuff that we've mentioned. But I think otherwise now, I think it's pretty much quite settled in terms of the meta. You see a few kind of archetype that are up here, right? And then yes, Chuck Vescos, there's the typical, I guess, beast in this case, right? Still the Corntail with just the Believer and the Ronin, that kind of thing. But I think what I want to highlight is actually these two teams here, the guys from Quest, because Meta 8 actually covered quite a lot of the top and then MVP as well, with GG and and Kairu. So and then we have Quest, right? Quest, we have Soul and Rise running the the aggro kind of build, and then YGG as well. So you can see on the top is mostly all the basically players that are, of course, they're good players, and so the guild will probably approach them and get into the guilds. But I just actually want to look at these teams. These two teams are actually very similar in the sense that they a lot of similar parts. Of course, the keynote is basically this swirl, right? I think the ears are the triple swirl, so that shuffles 2 confused cards into the opponent's draw pile. So that's basically, I think, the key. And of course, there's still a lot of similarity in terms of just like how they survive with the bumpy on the front, and then actually the scry, the antenna, I think, one of them here, and then Tiny Dino to finish off. Actually the back as well, I forgot what it's called, basically to remove the opponent's card from their hand, meaning if they have something retained, can also remove them. So of course, like, not the perfect of Axies in terms of like that there are something that could be still optimized, but despite not being like the perfect Axies, I would say it's still very strong that it can go to the top 10. So I think I definitely try to maybe I think I'll probably go for this team later on at number 10 to highlight for today. But before that, let's just quickly scroll through again what else is out here. I think this one's interesting as well. I'm not too sure what this does actually. Maybe I'll look into that in next time. Note that next time will be the end of the rare era. So today is day 6 and day 7 should be the end. So basically the end of day 7 would be the end of the era for rare, and then we have the relatively long epic era, which I think is more exciting in a way. To be honest, this is quite exciting too, and I do feel like if you give it a bit more time, then there might be more things coming up. But it's only 7 days, so people are in a way kind of optimized in terms of the aggro stuff, but still you can still see different things going on top. So I won't be surprised if like there's like another very interesting team that actually raced to the top at the very last day. So we'll see. And then I think we mentioned this kind, right? Actually this is interesting as well. So with the Aquas, so interesting to see if the Aquas actually get into it. So actually I just want to quickly look at it. Wow. So not expected to actually look into it, but I do want to just see what's up. So I think it's just a lot of ramp, right? All the ramp cards here with ultimately the Tiny Fan. So the Tiny Fan making a finish in a way, because you have just like a lot of ramp and then get to the Tiny Fan. I think you just have to rotate your deck relatively quickly, but you can see this kind of strategy can also work as well, right? It's just ramp and then finish opponent off with this. I think it's good to see this one working as well. But maybe tomorrow I can highlight one of these, depending on how good it goes. And also it didn't really feature the poison here as well, but you can see it's actually even top 20. You see all the hotbar stuff, you see a lot of different things feature in the top 20, which is what we kind of want to see. So yeah, quite happy with this meta, to be honest. And I must say, I'm not on top here because I'm just playing like 3 bucks nowadays with basically some goo strategy. And to be honest, I don't expect to do well, but I still managed to get to maybe like top 1,000 or something. Still, of course, not optimized as well. I just buy, I won't say the floor Axie, but like Axie's lower than $10 or something. So yeah, so despite that, I can still win some games, which I feel pretty good at. Like I think I'm just got the tiger or something. So yeah, I think it's pretty fun, and I do hope that this could last longer, to be honest. 7 days is really a bit too short, I feel. But of course, some people are just eager to move on to the rare, to the epic. But for me, I'm like, actually, I don't mind playing this for longer. Let's try different things out, and maybe in the future they should actually have like, maybe I actually don't know. Like maybe they can have like 3 different rule sets, and you can queue into different rule sets, and they have different leaderboard kind of thing. But of course, for each rule set, you have to limit the, let's say the rare era. You can only play the rare runes. So I feel like, yeah, that will actually be quite good as well, because sometimes, okay, let's say one meta got a bit stale, you can just queue into another queue. But of course, the problem is that you might not get enough people to get into the queue for the other eras. But I think it'll still be interesting. Okay, so let's look at the meta, I guess the team for today. But before that, actually, I should just look at this. So now this is about 46%. So Beast is still very dominant in the top 1,000, and I do still see a lot because I'm right at about 1,000, and then I'm just like to be honest, really every other game I'll see the triple Beast kind of thing. So it's still the most dominant and in a way easiest to play, or rather at the lower level is this aggro is just gonna dominate a lot of the matchups, just because if the opponents Axies are also not very optimized, then the Beast is just gonna kill them basically. And then Aqua, yeah, I think the tiny fan stuff, yeah, can still work quite a bit. And then Bird still pretty strong, I would say. I would probably expect Bird to be quite high once we shift to the other metas, but we'll see. But partly also because for the Beast, it's just a lot of people maybe have the Beast from previous seasons. Okay, so let's look at today's team from Wargos. So yeah, I mean, I already mentioned how it kind of works, so actually just jump right into the game and see. Okay, and let's just see how it go against a yeah, an aggro kind of thing. Actually, this is probably yeah, let's just look at this one to see how it goes against the kind of triple feather tri-feather kind of team. Okay, let's pause it here, and then let's just look at the team first. Maybe let's just look at the front. So the front, Aqua can survive, right? To survive, you have the the Bumpy, and then the Nemo is for Ram. Actually, the Ram is also pretty important so that you can actually get more energy faster compared to the opponent, and that just means like even though you're using cards that are not very effective, but because you can use one more card a lot earlier, then you kind of compensate for that. So that's one thing. But also, actually, banish is quite an important thing. So actually, yeah, something that's probably in common is that a lot of banished cards, so that you always draw. So basically, these 3 you'll be gone. You always just draw. You have a higher chance of drawing the swirl, basically, and I think that's one of the key as well. And maybe, yeah, this charm maybe is just, I think it has degrade, right? That just means this will also get removed, and basically every turn you're just going to play swirl. Yeah, and of course there will be some cards that can deal some damage as well. So yeah, overall pretty strong, and so basically double Nemo, and then triple swirl. I don't think the maze was matter too much. Oh yeah, the scry actually matters quite a bit, right? So because you do want to get to swirl at a certain point, so you do want to get rid of some of your cards if you don't want them. Like let's say Little Owl doesn't really do anything, so you can see, right, just literally just put a degrade there. Doesn't matter what this card is, right? Just remove it and that's it, right? So yeah, I think I quite like this. So yeah, in a way you can think of it as this is the kind of Axie where, or the kind of strategy where you only really need 5 or even 4 perfect card, and then this one, okay, sure, I don't want it, just yeah, remove it. So yeah, and then let me see what's the bat. I think the bat is the key, right? Because you do need some damage, and this is where it comes from. And the tiny dino basically is the key in terms of damage. Scar actually is also very strong, is because you do need to like have some consistency in terms of like getting this swirl, even though not necessary in a way, because I think the other build doesn't have it. But I think the key is still tiny dino, Garage Worm, also very important because you do want to remove the retain card from the opponent. And then yeah, I think just get rid of this. This will get banished, and this is a bit of damage as well, so that's pretty good as well. So let's just actually see how it goes. But before that, let's just quickly look at the opponent's team. Interestingly, also get a scribe, but then mainly I think it's Corntail, Axie Kiss, Chubby, Feather, the Tri-Feather with a bit of draw. So it's just a very typical aggro kind of thing. And then let's just see this one. Yep, Little Robin coupled with the the multi-hit or the AoE attacks, and then Kotaro actually got a bit of ramp as well. Yeah, this I'm not too sure if it's the mat that fits into this, but it is what it is. And then yeah, double Corntail basically 1 and 2. And then the back has the Wing Horn, which basically is the kind of end game where you're just gonna have a lot of feather stat already, and this will deal a lot of damage just because you'll get maybe sometimes 6 feather dagger. And 6 feather dagger really gives you an extra 100 damage in a way. So yeah, it could be pretty strong. And then yeah, just getting feather. Interesting to have the cleanse of the other Axie, and then a bit of ramp as well. So actually pretty perfect in terms of the Axie. So let's just play and see. Okay, very good start by the opponent as well. Already getting the feather, so you can already start stacking up. And you notice that it's at Dragon 1 or like Challenger already. So yeah, playing this, and then choosing to keep this obviously, because at this point Swirl doesn't really do much. Okay, so now it's the AoE time, and yeah, very lucky that like most of the feather, the Tri-Feather hits the front because it shielded the front. Then let's see. Okay, yep, Nemo just to ramp. Yep, to get the ramp up. And then just draw. Yeah, you can see, right, because there are a lot of zero cost card, right, and this Bumpy really get a lot of value, like 35 shield already. And then okay, so just start putting Confuse into opponents, yeah, into the opponent's draw pile. Well, actually good for Wargos that it didn't even get anything, because that's in his later turn there will be a lot more Confuse card. But yeah, you can see a lot of damage coming in. So the question is whether like how they're gonna keep like heals. I'm just thinking maybe I'm not too sure actually. I was thinking about like a cucumber slice kind of thing, but I don't think that's too effective. Okay, so a bit of heal still from the swirl, and there are basically 3 swirl played already, right? Ooh, good card draw. It's kind of like a counter. But you can see denying the opponent of using the Corntail is because it's kind of like an anti-Corntail strategy, because they don't have enough cards to even use the tempo. So this is I think the key, because they have 8 and then you have swirl again, so definitely play the swirl for sure. Right, so it's basically just denying the opponent any opportunity to play anything at this point. Shield, yeah, just a lot of shield basically. And then now because you can see, oh my goodness, every turn my opponent can only like play 2 energy worth of card, especially if you have Corntail kind of thing. So, but opponents do get into energy burst soon as well, but that doesn't matter. Okay, my god, double swirl. So this is like a perfect kind of turn, right? Double swirl, the opponent player can only play like 1 energy worth of card, and you do have the energy advantage as well. Yep, getting rid of those cards, and yeah, just all confused. Yeah, opponents just have to pass the turn. So this is how Swirl really can win games, right? It just can't do anything. Unfortunately, only can play one swirl, but yep, but Pigeon Pose actually kind of matters, add to it as well. But still, you can see a lot of curse cards. This is a crazy comp. I might want to try it if I manage to get my hands on this kind of Axie. Alright, so stacking up these as well, and then Garage Worm. Okay, getting at least one energy worth of cards that can be played. That's not bad, and actually managed to get to the this, which is pretty good. Get to the energy burst, and then yep, double. Oh, okay. But yeah, double swirl because it has 2 cards. So you're basically just trying to keep the opponent having always a lot of cards, right? So that they actually don't get to the opponent hasn't even got to their second rotation, and it's already round 7. Yep, haven't got to there yet. So I'm just trying to see how what's the end game for this kind of build. Yep, double swirl, oh, triple swirl, I guess. Triple it is, and opponents is basically locking out the opponent in playing anything. So this is, wow, an very interesting strategy. But of course, it really relies on, you know, like everything like surviving until this point. But now, yeah, opponents just really can't do anything, right? Okay, so in a way, it's GG's. But I just want to see, okay, so because there are only 6 cards, you're pretty guaranteed to get into, yeah, the 3 swirl, and then you get to 5 energy. I think that's the key, right? And then you're slowly chipping away with like damage with a Pigeon Pose kind of thing. So, yep, getting to 5 already, and then I think, oh, interesting to already start doing the damage at this point. Not too sure if that's necessary, but wow. This strategy is, when it works, it's just wow. But of course, if the opponent can kill the front, then that's a bit of a different story. But yeah, I think just okay, just Pigeon Pose is enough because you just want to get the damage across, and then yep, double swirl still, I would assume. Just yeah, it's double swirl is enough to just lock out the game basically. Because the opponent really has nothing they can do, and then you just need to ensure you have a bit of damage card, and then yeah. So in a way, it's very frustrating to play against this, and that's why I can see why this team is just so strong. Yeah, it's wow, very interesting strategy. Yep, you basically lock the opponent in this rotation, right? You just don't allow the opponent to get to that. Oh, it's just missing on the knockout, but that doesn't matter. Yep, just finish that off. So I think the key is still to be able to finish off the opponent before they can yeah, like do anything. I think before this also KOs you as well, so this is actually a key thing. You have to be able to KO the opponent in time. But wow, so this is oh my god, I haven't really seen this strategy in like action like this, so let's just see how you can actually beat this kind of strategy. So let's just look at this. So, oh, interesting, right? So this one actually loses to the triple Pigeon Pose because they can't get to the swirl fast enough, or rather, because they also shuffles the card. So this is kind of like a good counter to it. Another interesting one is, okay, this one is probably a draw because like a lot of shields, so you can't actually finish off the opponent. So that's another way of finishing off. And yeah, you kind of know how this works. But against aggro, it really just kills aggro, right? You just can't do anything. So I do want to see how, let's say, this works in terms of like going against aggro. This one looks like a draw. So actually, let's look at this. I feel like this one is just once you get a very lucky like draw with the Corontel Ronin kind of combo, then maybe you can actually KO the opponent. In you know, KO the front in time, then maybe that strategy doesn't work. Okay, let's just see. Okay, so MVP, XCGG. So yeah, so this is also a very high ranked. I think was it 5th? I forgot. Let me just double check. Yeah, the 3rd ranked opponent. So that's why they are pretty strong. So let's just see what kind of tech card they might have against it, or they might not have anything, or they just you know, happen to be able to burst down this. So I'm just looking at all these, and it's pretty typical double Robin, and then Innocent Lamb to get to Innocent Lamb is a typical aggro build, I would say. Maybe this matters, but I don't think it does. So let's just see how this one goes. Yeah, keeping the swirl for sure. Yep. And then let's just see. Okay, this spell doesn't do anything really, and then yep, just putting it here. Maybe the yeah, the Robin can. I don't think the Robin can do much as well. So I guess to play the swirl. Yeah. Yeah, very strong strategy, I must say. It's very hard to get to. You do need the ramp in order to basically play 3 swirl plus something else. Tri-feather. Yeah, I'm not seeing how this is gonna get burst down at this point. But maybe the 2. Yeah, I don't think the 2 Corntail matters as well. You just need 1 in a way. But I feel like maybe this not have any defensive tool. Yeah, I think this is quite defensive as well. Yeah, just kill the back, and then yeah, you can see already getting rid of stuff that it doesn't want, so that you get to the your swirl. So I think this is the turn where you just want to have the swirl. So yeah, not too sure how this actually breaks through this wall in a way. Yeah, okay, so it's not like there's a Ronin to burst through or anything at this point. Even though of course sure, I still have a Corntail. Still have 6 usable cards, but yeah, double swirl for sure, but also double Nemo. And then there's no retain card as well, so yeah, this is such a yeah, annoying strategy to play against, I must say, because now okay, I think it might just be because yeah, be able to burst down the front just because of this. I would say very lucky draw in a way, because Ronin actually does quite a lot, and maybe next turn just get enough damage to finish off the front so that you can't get the triple swirl kind of strategy. Yeah, put the Mavis at the, oh, actually interesting to use this. Yeah, just because they need to ensure the yeah, the front survives and doesn't want to get bursted down, right? You do actually remove the Corntail, so oh, it is this. I think it is the Feather Dagger that might actually do it with the yeah, it's okay, this is very smart, keeping the Feather Dagger. Yeah, it doesn't get the triple swirl. Oh, and the opponent does manage to get to yeah, the next rotation, and that's GG, because he can't lock it down to, yeah, unfortunately didn't get the pigeon pose, I guess, and that's once they get to the next rotation, I think they definitely have enough. So I think it's really key that it just didn't get to the either of these, so it's very unlucky in that sense. But yeah, but you can see this strategy is actually very consistent most of the time. But now of course the opponents at the next rotation, and they definitely can get enough of the damage card to finish the game off. But yeah, if you manage, you can imagine if you can just manage to lock into this rotation, let's lock the opponent into this rotation and they can't burst you down, then yeah, the opponents really can't do much. But of course at this point they can draw into yeah, the cards, and then yeah, the Feather Dagger should finish off the front, then you can't really lock it down, and then this strategy basically breaks down once the opponent basically gets to the next rotation. So well, very interesting strategy, and I must say it's still very consistent. And yeah, it's just of course it relies a lot on the there are multiple components, right? So basically you banish a lot of your cards, so that's one, and then like you have a bit of ramp so that you get to 4 energy a bit faster, and then yeah, it's just the triple swirl. But just unfortunate this one, if they actually didn't need to play that card, like for there's a turn where the shield could have just been removed, then they would not have like drawn into the shield and maybe drawn into another swirl. Like triple swirl would be enough to basically secure the win, but in this case yeah, it's just really one card difference, right? It just didn't get that one card to lock them into this particular rotation. But yeah, wow, yeah, you can see it's not really about the opponent being strong, it's just about, well, in a way yes, the opponent has enough pressure But still, it's just against aggro. Most of the time, this is a strategy that basically just locks down aggro. Wow. Okay, so this is it for today. It's yeah, eye-opening again, kind of build. It's yeah, something that I must say I haven't really seen. Of course, it's probably have to have like very perfect axes, and I think it's only things that you'll see on the very top levels, because if you get to this kind of like you have this kind of team, then you probably will climb up pretty quickly. So yeah, that's it for today. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next time.